Jury selection began today in the trial of the 3 men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery. Jury duty summons were sent to 1,000 Brunswick residents, from which 12 will be tasked with deciding the fate of Greg and Travis McMichael, along with William, Roddie, Bryan. Many are calling this one of the most important trials in Georgia's history. Earlier today, I had the chance to speak with Ahmaud's mother, Ms. Wanda Cooper-Jones, and her attorney, Merritt, about what this trial means, not just for her, but for our nation as a whole. Wanda, let me just ask you, it's day one of this trial. It finally began with jury selection today. Was there ever a time when you thought that this day would never come to pass?
Yes, often in the beginning, back in February of 2020, I often dreamed of this day because the case was so dark in the very beginning. I didn't think this day would ever come.
How have you prepared yourself for what could be, at minimum, a month-long trial?
The plan is just to do it day by day, take it day by day, moment by moment.
Now, jury notices were mailed out to 1,000 people, and they're expecting this jury selection process to be at least 2 weeks long. So the county basically casted this wide net out just to make sure that they get to impanel a 12-member jury. How confident are you, especially given the publicity surrounding this case, how confident are you that you are going to be able to get 12 fair and impartial jurors?
I'm thinking back to the election of DA Jackie Johnson, how we were able to get a new DA that spoke volume that people they got out and voted. So that also showed me that there were some fair people that was in my community.
Speaking of community, can you tell me what kind of support you've been getting, you and your family? What's it been like leading up to this trial?
The support has been amazing. The support has offered much encouragement and hope.
Lee, let me ask you, Ahmaud's death, it became a broader reckoning in racial injustice in our legal system, and many are calling it one of the most important trials in recent history. What could this trial mean for the health of this nation?
I mean, it's one of those litmus test cases all the way back to Emmett Till, where, as you know, an all-white jury acquitted the men who murdered him. Here, we're back in South Georgia, where unfortunately things like what happened to Ahmaud are still common. And we want to see if the courts will give him a fair shake. So far, we've had a judge who I think has been calling the shots well in terms of what comes into evidence. But having a fair and impartial jury who's able to hear the evidence and come up with the right conclusion, which we believe is a conviction, is something that we still have some reservations about.
You know, Wanda, justice is a term that a lot of people use, but it implies that there is going to be some sort of full restoration. And what that means here would be you getting Ahmaud back, and that can't happen, but you can get accountability. What does that look like for you?
Justice for me looks like having all 3 suspects go to jail forever.
Same question to you, Lee.
We were proud to see some of the strides the community has made. We know since the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, there's been an Ahmaud Arbery hate crime statute passed in Georgia, finally bringing it up with the times with almost every other state that has a hate crime statute on the books. We saw the defense being asserted today in this trial, the citizen's arrest statute removed from the books. And we saw Jackie Johnson, the prosecutor who was initially responsible for doing justice in this case, criminally indicted for failing to uphold her duty of office. And so in a lot of ways, we measure justice in that way. Those outcomes that the community was able to organize and fight for. But the men, as Wanda said, the men in this case being convicted and appropriately sentenced, we think it would be appropriate for the men to spend the rest of their lives in jail, would be the cornerstone for justice for us.
Wanda, there's often so much focus on how Ahmaud died, and there's going to be more focus on that, especially when this guilt-innocence portion of this trial begins. So what I'd like for you to do is tell us about Ahmaud's life and how he actually lived it.
Ahmaud was the baby of 3 children. Ahmaud was the baby of the family. Ahmaud was loved. Ahmaud, he enjoyed jogging. I never thought I would lose Ahmaud one day when he went out for a jog, but unfortunately I did. I never thought that this day would come. I often think that it's a dream because I never thought I would lose him so soon. But here I am.
Can you tell us a favorite personal memory about your son?
Ahmaud was, he had a saying that he would say, he would see me coming in from work kind of exhausted, and he would say, "Mom, when life gets hard, you got to get hard with it." And I often think of that. And when he said that, I mean, he truly, he believed that. So I think of that often. When my days are hard, in the coming days, I just have to get hard. I just got to get hard with it.